While Manchester City and Chelsea were ruling the British transfer market for a certain period, at least in financial terms, it would appear that Man United have finally hit back, putting the money where their mouth is with world record signings. However, the reality is the club have always spent big. Let's take a look at a starting 11 made up of the most expensive players ever to have lined out for the club. David De Gea. Yep, first name on the list is David De Gea, although considering what the club are demanding for him nowadays, the £21 million paid to Atletico Madrid in 2011 is looking like a bargain. Having said that, certain Manchester United fans were demanding their money back after a shaky start. Word he was even dropped for Anders Lindegaard at one point. It's 6 years later and the Spaniard is arguably the finest shot stopper in world football, while Lindegaard has just been released by Preston North End. Phil Jones. When Phil Jones arrived for £70 million back in 2011, he was hailed as the next big thing. Even had Sir Alex Ferguson tipping him to become one of the greatest players in the club's history. I think he might have had too much wine when he said that. The versatile defender has been a mainstay in the Carrington treatment room, making just 102 appearances for the club over 6 seasons. Does anybody have the receipt? Rio Ferdinand. While £30 million transfer fees are being chucked around like spare fivers in 2017, that was quite a massive price tag in 2002 when Manchester United paid through the nose for Rio Ferdinand. It was the second time he became the world's most expensive defender, with Leeds having forked out £18 million to drag him from West Ham 2 years previously. Clearly Man United got their money's worth, with Ferdinand making over 450 appearances for the club and collecting every single medal in sight. Eric Bailly. Victor Lindelof's signing is being treated with cautious optimism by most. Cautious because most have never even seen him play, but optimistic because he was brought in by the same man who signed Eric Bailly last summer. Like Lindelof, Bailly was an expensive purchase from left field and made 38 appearances during his impressive debut season. I expect him to be sticking around Old Trafford for a while yet. Luke Shaw. While Bailly looks to have a future sorted at Old Trafford, Luke Shaw probably does not. His time with the Red Devils has been an unmitigated disaster, ever since the £30 million move from Southampton in the summer of 2014 made him the world's most expensive teenager. In his 3 years at the club, he's broken his leg and been accused of fitness issues by both of the managers he's worked under. Oh, and as far as his England career is concerned, Paul Pogba. Of course Paul Pogba makes this list. You could cut his transfer fee in half and he'd still make it. The Frenchman was one of the most talked about players in Europe last season, not that he didn't bring most of it on himself. Who invents themselves an emoji when they're closer to mid-table than top of the league? Regardless, the £90 million man is the world's most expensive footballer of all time. He'll want to back that up with a Premier League title next season. Ander Herrera. Juan Sebastian Varane is probably mightily relieved Ander Herrera exists, as he'd be stuck in this midfield otherwise. The Spaniard pips the Argentine flop by £900,000, having signed from Athletic Bilbao for £29 million 3 years ago. The 27-year-old is the ultimate fan favourite at Old Trafford, endearing himself from the moment he got Steven Gerrard sent off after 13 seconds. Angel Di Maria. Manchester United fans probably couldn't believe their luck when they signed Angel Di Maria in August 2014 for £59 million. They had spent the summer watching helplessly as transfer targets turned their noses up at them, with Champions League football a distant memory, thanks to a certain Scotsman. The Argentine was plucked straight from the Champions League final and into Old Trafford, and he did start well for the club, but then he succumbed to injuries, suspensions and burglary terror before packing his bags and getting the hell out of the country at the first opportunity. Juan Mata. David Moyes didn't do much at Old Trafford, but one thing Man United fans will be grateful for is his capture of Juan Mata from Chelsea. The Spaniard was forced out of Stamford Bridge by Jose Mourinho in January 2014, with the Portuguese for some reason preferring Oscar in the number 10 role, a move that bemused some Blue supporters considering Mata had scored 33 goals and provided 58 assists in just 2.5 seasons with the club. Mata signed for Man United for £37.1 million, and his infectious likeability is rubbed off on the Red Devil supporters. I'm guessing he probably shit himself when Mourinho was appointed though. Anthony Martial. The reason you probably shouldn't get too excited about Kylian Mbappe is because we had all this 2 years ago with Anthony Martial. The hype that surrounded the teenager after a decent season with Monaco was crazy. His move to Man United for £36 million had many scratching their heads. The fact that the figure could rise to £58 million, with clauses surrounding Ballon d'Or wins, just amped up the hype. And let's not forget Martin Tyler nearly breaking into a fist bump on his debut. The 21-year-old with one facial expression will hope to improve on last season. 4 league goals is not good enough for a man of that worth. Dimitar Berbatov. No room for Wayne Rooney here, as Dimitar Berbatov takes this crown. The club had chased the former Tottenham striker for years, and while his languid style wasn't for everyone, you can't argue with the goals. 56 strikes in 149 games is not bad. Thanks for watching. watching, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and make sure you check out Footy Feed for all the latest transfer rumours and news.